What's good, crummies? I thought I would jump on here and give you all a nice little channel update just to explain basically little things like what does the channel mean, what's going to be happening with regards to content, and also this is like a future note to myself for when I look back at all of this and just see where I came from and how I've grown it from when I first started. So I know that right now this is going to be mainly for myself because I'm still growing this brand. I've started it from scratch with no prior followings. And I know that in order to compete in this market and with so much social media content out, I need to get my reps in and do a lot of volume and push out a lot of content. But because it's just me making all of this content from scratch, I need to manage my time with my full-time job. Because when it comes to social media and how everything works and my understanding of it, I want to craft a niche in this TV commentary space, but this is not a business for me. I haven't started this because this is going to be a business and I'm thinking of making this $1 million idea. That's not the reason why I started this channel. What the cookie crumbles stands for, and something that I've always resonated with, is the saying says, in terms of definition, this is what it says. While how the cookie crumbles is a fatalistic statement asserting that we have little control over life, when the cookie crumbled is an expression used to signify that things have irrevocably changed. It may not be a popular expression, but you might as well know it. And this is where I'm going with this, is that no matter what happens in life, no matter how bad or good the situation is, subjectively speaking, the way the cookie crumbles is that's just the way things are, and accepting it for that rather than beating yourself up to try and change it is the way to move forward. And by using this saying and what this meaning is about is by me doing my analysis of the characters, of the way the plot line is going, how the storyline develops, and how people are engaging with each other when I'm making analysis of these scenes. It's very important for me to try and make it relatable to life. You'll either have an experience, a friend, a story, something that you will be able to resonate with everything that I'm doing in the way that I'm going to be delivering this content. So I've finally finished doing season 1, episode 1 of SATC, and that took a long time. So I did an 8-minute intro, like that 8-minute video. I literally just did it just to test the waters to see if I could actually get organic traffic from like posting one video. So why don't we have a look at my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and we'll also look at my TikTok. So if we look at my Twitter, I've had a few tweets that have had really good organic reach. So that means that from nothing, no one at all, my content has been viewed by a certain number of people. So my 3 best performing tweets in terms of organic traffic, remember I'm starting this from nothing. And one thing a lot of people forget about how this works is that once you put out the content and it gets viewed, it's down to you to make sure you connect with the other person looking at that content and engage with them in a way that makes them want to follow or tweet or comment or engage with your content. That's on you. There's no algorithm in the world that can fix that. Like, you have to know what it is that you stand for in terms of your content, what you're trying to communicate, and how to build that. But you need to get the reps in. You need to make content that is going to flop. You need to make content that you can take the feedback and be able to adapt it. And that's why doing something about making content about something that I'm passionate about, which is just writing. So I've always been into English. So using something that I'm passionate about with something that it's not going to feel like a chore. So when I'm seeing this engagement with Twitter, so these are my 3 tweets, and this is the engagement that I got for them, which is decent considering I've not paid a penny, and I'm not going to pay a penny to grow this brand at all. I don't care how long it takes to get, say, 100. I think that's my first milestone. That's my first campaign milestone that I'm going to start bringing out when I come back in June and start pushing out the content more regularly. So that's my Twitter. Now let's have a look at my TikTok. So as you can see with my feed, I've posted content, and you can see that I've got views from nothing. You can see I've got 0 followers. Same with Twitter. I've got 1 follower now, but I had 0 followers, and I've got 0 followers on TikTok. And can you see my content is reaching people? Now, with regards to engagement and actually getting comments and likes, that will all come with time. Right now, I just want to see if I'm able to reach people with my content. The more I put content out, and the more I start to craft my niche and I start building a pattern as to what my content is, that's when the algorithm will know who to show it to. People think the algorithm is set up so that you can get your video seen by as many people as possible. No. If you talk about law and someone has an interest in dogs, the algorithm is going to prefer to show law content to people who have an interest in law rather than showing law content to someone that has dogs. That has got nothing to do with quality. That has got nothing to do with following. That's what an algorithm is. It's a matching system. It is not something that's going to be able to explode you and make you go viral, so to speak. And I think that one thing people miss with virality is it's usually linked to a lot of people with the same interest engaging in that content. So something that usually goes viral is something that a lot of people, especially beauty products, you see that a lot of beauty stuff goes viral very quickly. Why? Because it's an interest. Okay, I'm not going to talk about celebrity news or anything like that. I'm just talking about products in terms of business, because, you know, the media way of how things work is one thing, but in terms of just how products and business work, is that it's going to be a lot of people with that interest engaging and sharing that content. That is what causes virality, is when it's shared constantly. Like, a lot of people are sharing the content, and especially if you build a chain of a share to a share to a share to a share, that's where you get the virality. I'm not really gassed about that. I know I'm a slow and steady person, so who knows when I'm going to have a moment that pops. I'm going to drop an episode that is going to work really well, and people are going to engage with it. What that means in terms of numbers, I'm not really fussed about that, but I know that putting enough reps in will get me there. So we've seen my Twitter, we've seen my TikTok. Let's have a look at Facebook. Facebook, because I'm not adding friends and I'm not making it none of this is like a personal profile. So I'm going to move this into a fan page soon, but for now I'm just using it so that I can engage with people around these TV interests that I am inspired by content, because I can see what they're talking about with these TV shows, and then that will help me manage my content so I know how to make content that once I get there that people will be engaged with it. So that's why I usually use Facebook for. And then I have my LinkedIn. I'm still in the process of building connections. And what I found is that I still got organic reach with no connections, by the way. My post was shared in the LinkedIn network, but I found that once I started adding a network, that's when my profile views were increasing, because it was coming up in people's feeds that a new connection had been made, and out of curiosity, and we're just nosy by nature, you click on that person's profile, and most of the time they go through my feed and look at my posts. So across those platforms, with $0, 0 followings, people were seeing my content. That blows my mind, because usually before I would have friends or family or anybody share that content for me. But because now I'm in a completely different space and I'm just operating in a completely different way, this is just about my own little passion project and seeing how far I can take it. My big macro picture, there's going to be websites, there's going to be merch, there's going to be blog posts, there's going to be interviews, there's going to be a lot more coming. But that's big picture. But for right now, 5-year plan, put out content. And for me to keep up with it, because I have a full-time job And that's why I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it alongside my full-time job so that I have something just to break up my day. And especially now we're all hybrid working as well, it makes sense to have something that you have that's outside of your working day to look forward to. So after I finish work, I'll be able to just jump on, just do an hour worth of scripting or recording and then go about my evening. So just little and often. And that does build up over time. And then if I do get the resources, I may look into outsourcing some of the editing to make things easier for myself. But the first video I posted, that was all me. The editing, the scripting, everything, all me. And with that, it's time consuming when it's just yourself, you know? And with me being able to have this vision in mind and not putting any unrealistic goals or expectations onto myself as to when it should be done or how it should be done, I have been able to relax into this because social media and media is not going anywhere. The names of the platforms may change and fall off, but the actual premise of social media is here to stay. So everyone can breathe and relax. So I'm going to have a Discord and I'm also going to have a Patreon that I'm going to set up. But that's further down the road. In terms of how I'm going to set this channel up here's the tweet. So this is going to be the network schedule. So Thursday, I'm going to post Sex and the City content on all platforms. Well, mostly on YouTube. This is going to be like the network TV guide for YouTube. So with that long form piece of content, because I've just finished scripting the first episode, I only did the 8-minute video that I posted. That took me 7 days, working 4 to 8 hours an evening over 7 days. That took me just to make an 8-minute video. Now, granted, I did have some technical difficulties along that time, which probably didn't help matters, but we move. I wanted to really just see how long it takes to really make a piece of content when it's not content. Like, I'm not making content where I'm vlogging, where I could just put the camera up and talk to the camera. This is reviewing something, researching, like it's like a mix of a video essay and video production. When you've got to do it all from scratch and draw from different pieces, and also I want to have that animation element to it. That's another part of my USP and my niche. It's not as easy as just being able to sit in front of the camera and talk. And don't get me wrong, I could definitely do that. I mean, I want to. I don't want to sit in front of the camera. It's not for me, right? Especially now in the stage of life that I'm in and where I'm at, like spiritually, emotionally, and how much growth I've had in myself and where I'm at. I don't really need to do that. I've always been the kind of person that lets my work speak for itself. I don't need vanity metrics in order to have quality work. And by taking any vanity out of it and just making it about my content, that's how I want it to be. Because like I said, this is a passion project for me. This is not a business venture. I enjoy writing. I really do enjoy writing. So this is a really good way for me to have that connection with my gift, but not make it just all about writing articles. And that all of that will come. But for right now, I'm just going to spend the next 3 months. So June is probably when the first video fully produced will drop. That's the plan that I'm working to. And then as you can see, I've got Orange is the New Black and Desperate Housewives. And every TV show I'm going to do is going to have this same commentary analysis aspect to it. So I'm going to be going off on tangents. I'm going to be discussing articles. I'm going to be seeing how this relates to society. We're going to be going in depth. It's also going to have the podcast element to it. And the podcast is going to be slightly different to the YouTube because the podcast is going to be an extended cut. And then the YouTube is just going to be the production of that episode. So the first thing that will be coming back in June will be the first video. It depends what day I'm coming back to do everything. But before I moved on, I just wanted to see A, can I get traction? B, can I use that attention to convert? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes to all of that. So now that I'm with that, I can just spend this time just in content creation mode. I'm not working to anybody's standards. I'm not working to anybody's goals. I'm not working to anybody's timeline. This is for me, innit? I'm not doing it for anybody else. And I'm looking forward to coming back to this channel update in, say, a year, and just being able to be like, you came from this, and just having a nice little reflect on how far we've come. Well, I say we, it's me doing all the work, innit? How far I've come since I started. So that's going to be the network TV guide schedule. I've left those 2 days open because I want to leave that open as I've grown the community on my Road to 100 campaign. I'm going to get the audience and the community to vote on what they'd like to hear my commentary on next. I've never been one to follow the hype, and I know Euphoria is a hype and Bold and Beautiful is a hype right now. There's a lot of these programs that are coming out, but the whole way that this works is I'm reviving things that were very nostalgic and that people forgot about, and no one's really gone into depth about these kind of TV shows, and that's where my niche is, and that's where I'm going to set myself apart from everybody else. I'm really looking forward to making some more content. I'm going to spend this time getting everything together. And as you can imagine, if it took me that long just to make 7 minutes, you understand that this is a very time-consuming process. And as I am able to invest more time into it, then of course I would definitely look into outsourcing a lot of it. But even with outsourcing, I've still got to give editors notes. I've still got to review it. I've still got to script and storyboard for the editor to do the work. So there's still work involved no matter which way I look at it. So I'm looking forward to the challenge. I've made some hypotheses on how to convert. I'm going to play around with them. In the meantime, if there's random ideas I have, I'm going to post them. But for right now, I'm just going to stick to what it is that I want to do. I'll post a long form video in June, and there'll be all long form videos. There'll be about an hour. So after I've done the scripting and everything, it's looking about an hour per episode, and I'm doing the whole series. The whole Orange is the New Black series. Every episode, we're breaking it down. We're doing the same thing with Desperate Housewives. We're doing the same thing with Sex and the City. So I've broken down and done episode 1 for Sex and the City. And I'll be doing episode 2, series 1, and going all the way through the films and everything. So just so that I can be able to make certain forecasts and we can see how these scenarios and contexts apply to our life. And that's why I wanted to do this, just to show that there is a correlation between characters in TV shows and our day-to-day life and how we make decisions, and just looking at the comical aspect of all of that. So I'm going to leave that there. Bear with me. Thank you for your patience. And also, future note to self, you are doing amazing. You are great. Don't let anything in terms of metrics or people wanting to compete with you take you off course. You know what your bigger picture is. You know what the plan is. It's not for you to prove it to anybody else when you know you can prove it to yourself. Until next time, guys, I will see you in the next video.